Whoa! She just let out a big fart. Hello, my name is Carolyn. I realize I don't think I've ever said that on this channel, but hello, welcome. Today we are doing a mask-friendly makeup tutorial. So before we get started, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you're not already, and hit a thumbs up if you're watching this video and you like it, and yeah, thank you. So today we're going to be going through my base routine that I've found works really well underneath a mask. So I have very dry skin and I find it's really difficult to find foundation or base routines that are transfer resistant, long lasting, both things that are super necessary for under a mask, but that also don't look like complete crap on my dry skin. So there's that. And I know, like, a lot of times when I'm going out in a mask, like, I just won't wear foundation, like, makeup on the lower half of my face. I'll just do, like, concealer under my eyes, basically, and call it a day. However, like, if I already have a full face of makeup on or whatever, and for whatever reason, you need to have makeup on, or you want to have makeup on, and you have to be wearing a mask, this is the routine that I have found works really well for me, that still looks really good. I do find no matter what makeup I'm wearing, there is going to be a little bit of transfer onto the back of the mask, but this I find, like, it doesn't wear off to the point where my makeup looks like it's diminished, and the makeup itself lasts really well on the skin. So yeah, let's jump right into it. Okay, so the first trick I actually learned from Jamie Page recently, but oh my god, it makes such a difference. So I'm going to take a little bit of my moisturizer here and just put it on the back of my hand, just a tiny bit. And then I'm going to take my foundation brush and I'm going to work the moisturizer into the brush. I don't exactly know the science behind this, but it sort of like moisturizes the brush, and it just, it creates such a beautiful skin-like finish on the face no matter what foundation you're using. So I found the foundation that has worked best for me, that is transfer resistant, lasts all day, and doesn't look like garbage on my dry skin, is the Urban Decay Stay Naked foundation. This is a nice soft matte finish. I think this is something that would work on pretty much any skin type. It's about a medium coverage. It's not a super full coverage, but you can build it up. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful foundation, and I've been finding the perfect one for wearing underneath masks. So I've got my little moisturized brush, and I'm gonna do 2 pumps here. So I have the shade 11N, which is on the lighter side for me. It's not a perfect match. I do think 20N is a better match, but this works fine. So then I'm gonna work that foundation into my little brush here. I've already done all my skin prep this morning, and I'm just gonna go right in. I don't always do the moisturizer trick with this foundation, like if I'm in a hurry or whatever, but I do find it makes a difference on how it lays on the skin. Don't put foundation there. And then I'm gonna take my little sponge and I'm gonna tap out around like the nose and mouth area, because I find I just can't get in there very well with a brush. So I would say I'm at about a good medium coverage. That is enough coverage for me. I do find, you know, kind of the lighter, less product you put on, the better your makeup is gonna stay throughout the day, just because it's not, there's less product to be creasing and whatnot. So it's just such a pretty, obviously I need to do my concealer, but it's just such a pretty skin-like finish, and especially for a matte, long-lasting foundation, it looks so pretty on the skin, especially with that little moisturizer trick. So yeah, that's what it looks like. Okay, and then I'm gonna move on to concealer. So for concealer, there's a couple that I like, but lately I've been using the Fenty one again, and I just find this one gives me the best coverage. I can use the smallest amount of product, and it does dry down to a nice matte finish. So I'm just gonna put a little of that right here and right here underneath the eyes, and then I do have a couple, this is dog hair. And then I do have a couple little blemishes down here that I want to cover too. So I'm just gonna put a little of that concealer there. Okay, and then I'm just gonna tap that out with a sponge very gently. Okay, and I like to leave the concealer under the eyes there as long as possible, because I just find I get better coverage that way, but I'm feeling impatient today, so here we go. Hi, Kim. Okay, so powder. Now, if you've watched my channel before, you know I am not the biggest powder fan, but I do find it's kind of necessary for when wearing the masks to keep everything where it needs to be. So I'm gonna use one of my fave powders. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish powder. Use whatever powder works for you, truly. And I'm just gonna take a little bit of this on this Sephora. Whoa! She just let out a big fart. I'm gonna take a little bit of powder on this Sephora 99 brush. And I'm gonna do a little under the eyes, which I know doesn't have anything to do with the masks, but I have been liking the way that looks, and it does help to prevent creasing. And then I'm gonna take some on the nose, and I'm gonna powder pretty heavily on the nose because I find that that's kind of where makeup tends to rub off first, just in general, but especially with the mask. And I like that this powder has a tiny bit of a tint to it, so it almost adds more coverage, but like not a lot. Very, very light layer on my upper lip so I don't emphasize my little lip hairs too much. And I'm also gonna pretty heavily powder the chin. I'm not like baking because on me that's a disaster, but I'm just kind of gently tapping in that powder. And then I'm also gonna kind of go on my jawline right here. So yeah, I'm kind of keeping most of the powder on the areas of my face that will be covered by the mask. And I'm just kind of brushing it down my neck just a smidgen. Okay, and then I'm gonna kind of leave this area of my cheek unset. Since I am wearing a little bit more of a matte foundation, the part that is covered by the mask isn't gonna be too affected, and that place can still look nice and skin-like. I definitely recommend doing a powder bronzer. It lasts on the skin better, and it's not gonna transfer as much onto a mask. I'm gonna be using the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. It's a classic, and then I'm just gonna take that on my little brush and tap it along my cheekbone. So I kind of go over my cheekbone because when you're blending it, it is gonna naturally be dragged down, and I don't want it to be like way down there. This is also gonna keep it as above the mask as possible. All right, so once you've got your bronzer on sufficiently, it's time to go in for highlight. Now, I often will still use a cream highlight just because I love them and I don't really give a shit. But since we want this makeup to be as long lasting as possible, I am gonna go in with a powder highlight, and that's gonna be the Pixi times Aspie Novard Glowy Powder. This is just, I find, I don't know, it's just my favorite powder highlight. Even though I'm not super into powder highlights anymore, this one still looks really nice on the skin. So I'm gonna take it on this little brush right here, and I'm going to buff it in circular motions right on the tops of my cheekbones. And it is a really pretty highlight. Okay, now some would say that a cream blush is not the best idea. I will contest that. For me, I just really love a cream blush. It just makes my skin look so nice and healthy. Obviously, if you're more oily, you may want to steer away from a cream blush, but I find this one I've been using still works well underneath the mask, and I haven't had really any issues, and that is the Fenty Cream Bronzer. I have the shade Rose Latte, or Rose Latte, I don't know. I don't know how to say it. Anywho, so I find the reason this one works so well is just because it does sort of have a more matte finish. It's not like a super dewy or tacky cream blush, and I think if you're wanting to go for a cream blush, that's the sort of formula you want to go for. I haven't been putting blush on my nose as much while wearing the mask, and also I'm leaning away from that now, even though I think it's really cute. But so I'm just gonna keep it kind of on the apples of my cheeks and up. Now you could also set this with a powder. I'm not really gonna bother today because I'm not too worried about it, but that's another way to make it long lasting. But in terms of cream blushes, this is a really good one to... No! Drop my beauty blender! I gotta wash it, hang on. Last thing is I'm gonna spray a little bit of a dewy setting mist. You can also go with a more long lasting setting mist. And this is just gonna help everything kind of sink into the skin a little bit more and get rid of any like powderiness or cakiness that might have happened in the process. Yeah, this is how it's looking up close. So see how it looks still really nice and skin-like, but it is on the more matte side, and it's gonna last us a lot longer than like a dewy foundation would. Okay, so then for lips, I know a lot of us are just kind of foregoing wearing lipstick right now, which is totally understandable. And a lot of times I'll just put on like a lip balm or something like that. But if you are wanting to wear a color, I highly recommend doing something that's like a stain type formula, because I do find they're the least transfer proof and they're not gonna like get all over your face. Because I find like even liquid matte lipsticks, unless you know that they're totally transfer proof, the ones I've worn under masks still tend to move around a little bit and get weird. So yeah, so I would recommend going with a stain-like formula if you're wanting to wear a lip color. So I'm going to be using the Urban Decay Vice lip stains, I think that's what they're called. This one's in Physique. These ones are kind of weird. They kind of are supposed to match to your lip pH, so they look different on everyone. I don't know. Anywho. But this one I do find works really well under a mask because it keeps its color, but it's not going to move around weird, and it's not going to transfer onto the mask too much. Alright, and that is the finished base makeup. I'm going to go grab my mask so I can kind of show you. Okay, so I'm just going to show you the inside of my mask beforehand, and I'm going to pop this baby on. Obviously, this is not going to be the same as like wearing a mask for 12 hours at your bartending job or whatever, but it'll give you an idea. This mask is by Stormie, by the way, off of Etsy, and she's on Instagram too. She has some really cool stuff, so I'll link her shop below. But yeah, so here I am in my mask, and I'm gonna take it off. And yeah, not too much transfer there. Yeah, now obviously if I was wearing this for a lot longer, I do think there'd be a little bit of transfer, but as you can see, my makeup still looks good. It's not like totally messed up or anything. I'll zoom you guys in again so you can see. Still looks pretty good. There's no like weird lines in my bronzer. It's not rubbed off on my nose, so yeah, it works pretty well, I find, this base routine. Okay, and that is all for today. I hope you enjoyed this long-lasting, mask-friendly makeup routine. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, please click the thumbs up button and hit the subscribe as well. And I will see you all again soon. Bye. Brain, where is my brain? Where is my brain? Where is my brain? Yeah, today... Thank you guys so much. Children, stop. I'm trying to film. And the neighbors are looking at me. So I'm gonna be using the Physique. This is just what I have sitting in front of what?